As a young child, I never believed in myself. I didn't think I'd be living the life that I'm living now. It was all a dream because I never thought that I'll be able to live this life. That's when I became, I'll say, a household name. When I was growing up, I found it quite hard. I suffered from dyslexia. My mum always used to say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You know, I thought I would just be like lost in society and be like a waste, a bum.
How the hell are you doing so many things and excelling in all of them as well?
I pushed that a little bit harder in all aspects of life, of everything that I do. However you want to look at it, you got to prioritize that, make it priority number one. That choice is yours. Nothing lasts forever. And it really scares me. My biggest fear in life is, and I think it's so important that we look at life in that way, that
Wole, we're finally here. We've been talking about this podcast since what, couple of weeks now, couple of months now.
couple of months.
My bad, because this studio is a new studio and we had to wait until we finally launched the studio so that we can launch you as our first guest in the studio. So thank you so much, Wole, for saying yes, first of all, and coming on this podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here, honestly. Like, obviously, we see each other in the morning. It's part of the 6 a.m. crew in the gym. You know, we wave, we nod. You know, we should have a brief conversation, not a mother's meeting on the gym floor. Just a quick conversation, you know, so we can get on with the workout, what we're there to do. But, you know, it's a true pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Wole. Before we get into it, I just want to share one thing. You just said about we wave, we nod. We don't just do that. Yeah. And that is because of you. So the one thing that I've really made me feel good in the gym is how you show up and how you interact with people in the gym. So, and I'll tell you why. Because obviously, I mean, we're going to get into all your accomplishments and especially your bodybuilding accomplishments. So when you see somebody in that environment, because, you know, you aspire to, you know, get into a better physique and so on. So you see someone who is in that top shape, but is also so kind enough to give you their time and value. I will tell you from a outsider perspective, that changes everything. So what I've noticed with you, a lot of people, and honestly, I'm one of them as well. You know, you see people every now and again, you wave, you nod, and you carry on with your business. A lot of the times, you don't even know their name.
Yes.
You made the conscious effort to shake my hand, ask me for my name, and have that conversation. And then on top of that, you've made a conscious effort to do that every single time. I don't know if you do it consciously, but I really wanted to share that with you, and I wanted you to know it so you don't stop doing that with other people.
I really appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, I've traveled the world and I've trained with some of the best bodybuilders on the planet and some of the most influential individuals, one being my big brother, Mr. Michael O'Hearn, lives out in LA. And, you know, Mike can't walk into Gold's Gym in LA without, I'll say, 10 people stopping him, you know, before he even walks into the gym. And this is not a joke. And whilst training, you cannot do a session without maybe another 10 to a dozen people stopping him. And one of the things I've learned by just watching him is no matter what he's doing, no matter what day it is, no matter how he's feeling, he always gives people the time of the day. And that's so important. And I learned that from watching him. And I thought to myself, that is such a great attribute to have as an individual. It can be in mid-set and someone will stop him for a photograph. And Mike will stop and take a photograph of that person and have a 5-minute conversation with them. Because that 5-minute conversation you might have with that person on the gym floor may change their perspective on training, on life, and give them a better trajectory on where they go into. And that's something I've learned. And I'll be honest with you, I got Michael O'Hearn, this is my big brother, to thank for that, because for the past 10 years, I've been going backwards and forward to Los Angeles and spending 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month with him. And the last time I was in America, I spent a month with him. And I watch him and I learn from him, not only by asking questions when we're training, but the way he conducts himself amongst people. And that's the quality that I will never, ever lose, because, you know, the 5 minute that I'll give to you to ask you your name and to shake your hand and have a brief conversation with you, just say, hey, what you training today? You know, how's your training going? That could change the perspective of your day, your workout, and everything else that you're going through. You know, because the gym to me is a sanctuary, and I want it to be that for everybody else. I want people to feel welcome in the gym, no matter your ability or how you look. You know, I can look physically the best, but mentally I could be the weakest. You know, those that come into the gym will look at someone like myself, and some people may feel intimidated. But do you know what? I don't want you to feel intimidated. I want you to feel inspired to be like myself, to be better than me, to achieve greater things than what I've achieved. Because I always say this, you know, people say health is wealth, but I say wealth is health. You know, let's change the narrative on this now. You know, when you have your health, you have your wealth. You know, that's what's important. And I want people to understand that and prioritize on their health and fitness, not be intimidated by the gym environment, by the way people look.
It's interesting, you know, because you spoke about your big brother in America. I will tell you, and how now you're kind of paying it forward. I will tell you, because of the way you interacted with me, I've now made a conscious effort to do the same with other people that I meet in the gym. So yes, it's not just changing my day, because that's really deep if you think about it. It's not just changed my day, it's actually also changed the way I operate in that environment. And I also now start making conscious effort, because I'm thinking, I mean, if you in your, you know, because, you know, physically the way you look, and obviously that's aspirational, if you can do it, you know, who am I? And how can now I pay this forward? And hopefully, whoever I'm saying hi to and making that conscious effort now then does the same for someone else. It's that ripple effect that you try and create, you know? So, but yeah, before we now get more digress into the conversation, who is Wole? If you can introduce yourself, please.
So, like, it's interesting. I mean, Wole Adesemoye, I was born in Nigeria, Lagos, on the 25th of the 4th, 1980. You know, I got 5 sisters, 1 brother. My mum grew up in the UK, so my older sisters and brothers were actually born in the UK at Hammersmith Hospital. My mum and dad was educated in the UK at Oxford University, both very clever. My dad set up the pension for a company called Leventis in Lagos, quite big. They represent the interest of Coca-Cola, Mercedes in Lagos, Nigeria at the time. And my mum was the head of accountant for Nigerian Airways when Nigeria had a national carrier called Nigerian Airways. So they went back to Nigeria during the A days in the 70s, and I would say it went back in 71 or 72. So they had my sister, I think 75 they went back, to be honest with you, because my sister's 3 years older than me. So they had my sister in 77, I believe, and I was born in 1980. Then my little sister was born in 83. And then 84, my mom and dad separated, and 85, we moved back to the UK. So they were in Nigeria for about 10 years after moving away from the UK. And then I'll say my mum, then decided to move us back to the UK. So came to the UK age of 5, you know, my mum said we're going on holiday, and you know, a 6-week holiday lasted, you know, God knows, I'm going to be 45 next year, so it's 40 years holiday.
As long as it feels like a holiday.
It doesn't. Yeah, so, you know, obviously, you know, my mum did her best to bring us up. I always expressed this, coming into the UK, I felt a bit lost, didn't have a father figure in my life. I played sport, I did all types of sports from football to swimming. I was part of a swimming club. So I grew up in Fulham, so I went to the Fulham pools, I swam in the Fulham pools. I went to the Brunswick Youth Club, which is just off North End Road. You know, I played football for Chelsea till I was 16. So I was relatively good at sport. I did kickboxing, I did boxing, but, you know, when I was growing up, I found it quite hard, education at school. So, you know, dyslexic wasn't quite prevalent back then. No one understood it, but I suffered from dyslexia, and I didn't really excel in my studies as well as my sisters did. You know, my sisters were doing really, really well. My mum always used to say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you not doing as well as your sisters? And I couldn't quite understand it, you know, but who am I? You know, I'm someone who didn't really believe in themselves growing up. So I always pushed a lot harder. I started obviously playing football at an early age, from the age of 11. You know, I played to high standard. I played for Chelsea till I was 16. After that, I started boxing. I boxed again till I was about 30. You know, I was boxing alongside playing football and doing other sports. And then, you know, when I got to 18, I wanted to join the London Fire Brigade. Again, you know, back then it was like, okay, I wanted a career path that's going to give me some stability, a little bit of discipline. So I started applying for London Fire Brigade. But I couldn't pass the written test because of my dyslexia. You know, so it took me 3 attempts to pass the written test, and I finally got into the London Fire Brigade in 2000. So I got in 2000, and I've been in the fire service for 24 years ever since.
Wow.
But because of my refusal to give up at an early age, I managed to achieve that accomplishment of getting into the fire service and passing the written test. I'm also, you know, obviously a 5-time muscle model world champion. You know, I've competed in bodybuilding all over the world, and that's a big accomplishment for me. You know, that's when I've, you know, traveling backwards and forwards to America from like 2014 is when I met Michael Hearn. You know, I've known Mike now for over a decade. So, you know, I met him at Gold's Gym, became friends with him and started training with him and just stayed in touch. Obviously, I knew him from YouTube, I knew him from Instagram. You know, social media was just coming into this prime then, like Instagram, around 2014 when I met him. You know, but I knew him from YouTube, so I was watching a lot of his videos. So I was a fan more than anything, and you know, and obviously we stayed in touch. For me as well, you know, I have a business as well. I have a Precision Performance Coaching, which is an online coaching provider. We have our own coaching app, which we provide coaching for all of our clients, from executive to those that want to step on stage, just those that want to better themselves. We work alongside 2 doctors, one being a hormone doctor, one being a mindset coach, just to optimize your health, because I just think longevity is something I'm very passionate about. So we focus on longevity because, you know, longevity, efficiency, and everything we do is backed by science, and then the results will come, because a lot of people come to want to get that results when they initially come to us, but we want to make sure that you live long. So I'm 44 now, and I want to keep doing the things that I'm doing in my 40s, into my 50s, into my 60s, into my 70s. And it's important that I understand to be able to do so, I need to basically biohack my body and understand the things that I need to do and the things that I need to stop doing to make sure that my body is ready to be able to perform to that level when I get to my 50s and 60s. But for me, I'm just passionate about helping people. Like I've always said, if I can help one person every single day for the rest of my life, I'll be a blessed man. And for me, all I want to do is see people to see the greatness and to see greatness within themselves. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, as a young child, I never believed in myself. And I always say, it almost brings tears to my eyes saying this, because I always say the life that I'm living now, it was all a dream, because I never thought that I'll be able to live this life. I thought it was beyond me. You know, I thought I would just be like lost in society and be like a waste, a bum, not a high achiever like I am now. You know, not, you know, you talk about 1% people that make a certain amount of money in the UK, you know, I'm part of that 1% group. I never thought I would be part of that, you know. So for me to be in that sort of bracket, it's like, it brings tears to my eyes, because we did something that I didn't think was accomplishable, and it's hard. But I'm just a young guy doing what I'm doing. Yeah. You know, I can talk all day about myself, but you know, again, back in 2008, I competed in the TV program called Last Man Standing. So if you're ever born, go on YouTube, just Google Wole Last Man Standing. We traveled around the world. It was 6 Westerners, 3 from the UK, 3 from the US, and we traveled around the world, living with the most remote tribes on the planet. And we would participate in their tribal sports. So from stick fighting in Ethiopia with the Suri tribe. They're the Suri tribe. They have big lip plates. You know, we lived with them for a month. Then we went to Burkina Faso, Brazil, you know, Bhutan. We just traveled around the world, Papua New Guinea, you know, India. We did Kushti wrestling in India. What else did we do? We did a 40-kilometer canoe race in the open sea in Papua New Guinea, you know, and I became victorious in that, winning that TV show, becoming Last Man Standing. I guess that's when my popularity sprung, through social media, through Facebook, through Instagram. Again, was as infants back in 2008, 2009. But that's when I became, I'll say, a household name, and people recognized who I was. And that gave me an element of self-belief, to think like, look what we can do. So whenever anything gets challenging, I always go back, you know, refer back to the things that I've done and I've become in my life. It's important that we have that reference point that wherever is going wrong in life, that you can refer back to the things that have gone right for you. And I'll always say this, good or bad, nothing lasts forever. So when you're flying and everything's going really, really well, just remember, this high isn't going to last forever. When you're down in the dumps and you're not doing so well, just remember, this low isn't going to last forever. So everything you're doing, nothing lasts forever. But that's me in a nutshell, really.
That's beautiful, aspiring, and inspiring. However, what I want to ask you is, a lot of people, they find it difficult just to do one job properly, just to put their mind on one thing properly. How the hell are you doing so many things and excelling in all of them as well? So what I want to actually come back is really, where is the hunger stemming from? I'm guessing, I mean, there has to be an insane amount of hunger for you to be doing what you're doing.
It's simple. The hunger comes from fear of failure. You know, I look at myself as a kid that everyone don't expect to succeed. And it really scares me. My biggest fear in life is failure. Failure is one of my biggest fears. So I push that little bit harder in my training. I push that little bit harder in my business. I push that little bit harder in all aspects of life, of everything that I do. I always say, if you're not going to give 110%, why bother? And I'm always scared of failing in all aspects of things that I do. And people might not want to admit it to themselves that they're scared of failing. You know, yes, failure, I failed time and time again, you know, in all aspects of life. I failed in relationships, I failed in business, you know, I failed in training, you know, I'm not saying I failed in training, but I failed in competition where I didn't win, competitions that I was expected to win. So it's looking at failure and taking lessons from that and making sure that the lessons that you learn from the failures that you've come across, you're not sitting there not doing anything with the information you've gathered. Because implementation is key. You know, people look at things and, you know, if people can implement as fast as they learn, we'll all be millionaires. People procrastinate on implementation because they're scared to fail. And that was me. That was me. That was the life that I lived. I'd rather not do something that I think, do you know what, if I don't do it, I won't fail. But again, if I don't do it, I won't know, you know, how to do what I want to do. So my biggest fear and why I excel so much in what I do is my fear of failure. I'm so scared of failure that I'd rather get up and put in a double session in the gym than step on stage and know that I didn't train hard enough. I'd rather get up and reach out for help. Like, for example, I have a mindset coach, I have a private doctor, I have a business coach that helps me in my online coaching business. I have 2 virtual assistants, I have a social media manager, I have a video editor. So the skill set that I know that I'm no good at is understanding those skill set and passing those to people that can do the job a lot better than you can. So there's acknowledgement of the things that you can and can't do within business. Also acknowledgement that, right, it's not hard to ask for help. Reach out for help when needed.
Yeah.
So
I think, you know, and I completely resonate with you as well. I think it's a life hack to double down on your strengths and just delegate the weakness. Instead of, you know, yeah, I know a lot of people, you know, work on your weaknesses and try and upskill. I think that's because you only have 24 hours in your day. How can you double down on what you're good at and just become better at that?
yeah.
So you think there's a correlation between, and we can even generalize this, by the way, for yourself or in general, I mean, your opinion as well on that, people migrating to different countries, because, you know, I touched on that word hunger, and you said the hunger comes from fear of failure. I'm just trying to take a step back.
Yeah.
Why the fear of failure as well? I know there's a general connotation, people don't want to fail, everybody wants to succeed. But yeah, so you think there's any correlation between your family moving from Nigeria and then you guys starting a new life here? I appreciate that you were too young at that time, but did that impact you in any way?
Oh, massively. You know, at the end of the day, you know, my parents grew up in London. My sisters were all born over here, my older sisters, but we're still Nigerians and we're still immigrants in this country. So the fact that you're an immigrant in a country, you have to try just that little bit extra to succeed in. And people might not say it's not, I wouldn't say it's, I don't want to use the word racism. I don't want to use the word negative, because that racism has a negative impact.
Yeah.
But I think as a foreigner in a country like the UK, those that immigrated into this country just have to try that little bit harder at school, just have to try that little bit harder in their job role as a professional, because the things that you do, I've been in the fire service for 24 years. Organization it's a uniform organization, and I can give you an example. If something I do wrong and someone of my rank does a similar thing wrong, what I do wrong will be more highlighted than someone of my rank or similar rank to me. So what I'm trying to say is that people might not have that sort of, I guess, is unconscious bias, I call it. Unconscious bias, meaning that they'll just look at someone that looks like them and be more sympathetic than someone that does look like them. And that's just the society that we live in, unfortunately. So coming from coming from like an immigrant family, immigrant background, that might be from India, it might be from Pakistan, it might be from Dubai, it might be from Nigeria, it might be from Ghana, whatever country you're coming to, if you're coming into this, into the UK, you will have to try that stand a little bit harder. Those in power within the UK, those in high organisation, or may not want to admit to that, but there is an element of, unconscious bias in all organisation. And I've used the fire brigade as an example. We've recently had a report that was drafted up, and we were actually deemed institutionally racist.
Oh wow!
As an organisation, so. That doesn't mean individuals within the organisation is racist, and we all know what institutional racism stands for. It means policies that are in place are biased towards those of ethnicity. So it isn't hard to see if an organisation like the fire service, a big organisation like the fire service, the London Fire Service, are being highlighted to be institutionally racist. So do you not think that has a ripple effect into other organisations? Like the police, the ambulance, corporate world, corporate world may be slightly different, but yes, the answer to your question is, as an immigrant coming into the UK, you have to work just that little bit harder to prove yourself in any organisation that you're in. And it doesn't mean that the individuals that are in charge of that organisation are racist. I'll reiterate that. It doesn't mean that individuals in charge of that organisation are racist, but it is some form of unconscious bias that we all have. We all have it. We all have it from experience we have in life, things that have happened, and that's it. We all have that element of unconscious bias.
Yeah. I mean, but I think in hindsight, it's also interesting because you see, life is all about perspective. So I'm just thinking, because you had to work that much more harder, that also impacted on your growth and your success and everything else as well. So yeah, maybe at that time it was tougher.
Yeah.
But perhaps if you didn't go through that, you also maybe wouldn't be here.
100%. Like I always say, what we go through in life makes us who we are.
Yeah.
And the challenges that we face makes us either weaker or stronger. How we overcome those challenges puts us where we want to be today. And I think for me, I embrace all of the hardship that I've had in life. And I appreciate the hardship, because now that, when it's sunny, like I say, I enjoy the sunshine. And I mean, oh, the sun's here today, I better enjoy it, because it might not be here tomorrow. A great analogy is the UK weather. The weather might be great today, but tomorrow it might have rain. And that's just life. Because you don't know what's around the corner. And I think it's, for me to be in a position that I'm in today, that little bit, I still push just as hard as I started pushing when I started bodybuilding over a decade ago. Taking into consideration I've been training for 32 years, I never skip a workout. I never ever skip a workout. Like, even before I came here today, I've got a double session to do today. I got my my push session in, which I train a little bit of shoulders, a little bit of chest, and a little bit of triceps, and 45 minutes cardio. And I had my breakfast. My breakfast is the same every morning. It never changes. It's porridge, eggs, and a bit of protein powder, and some frozen berries, and a banana, and some nuts as well to get my fats in. So the consistency is there. And I think for me, I'm a creature of habit as well. And I love routine. I love routine. When that routine breaks, it throws me off completely. So it's important that when you understand what you want, you can push that a little bit harder towards your target. It's like driving to a destination, and when you have a roadmap, you can either put your foot down and go a little bit faster to get there, or sit in that middle lane going 70 miles an hour. It's just that simple analogy. You know, for me, I want to push that a little bit harder, you know, push the boundaries with my training, with my nutrition, with my mindset, because I just think mindset's so important. And I think, you know, element of understanding, you know, your mind, it's taken me a long time to get to that level where I understand my mind a little bit better than I did when I was a bit younger.
I love that. I want to speak more about the whole bodybuilding aspect, obviously.
Yes.
And how that's impacted you in your life in general. But the analogy you gave about the season, and I think that's quite interesting, and I can resonate with that because, so I grew up in Dubai.
Yes.
And in Dubai, you've got two weathers. It's either hot or super hot.
Yeah.
And you've got sun every single day. And I didn't quite understand when I first moved here, why people, every time your small talk started with the weather.
Yeah.
Oh, how's the weather today? And people always spoke about the weather. Something, you know, I was a little bit confused. And also, I didn't appreciate sun as much as now I do. Now I understand why people talk about the weather because, oh my God, the weather is so unpredictable. Like you can wake up, there's sun, and then it's raining, and then it's storm. You can have 4 seasons in one day. But I really love this analogy because I appreciate now in the UK. First of all, I never had 4 seasons, so I think the novelty also wears off when you really have something at your disposal. So that's one. But the second thing also, the UK has amazing nature. The nature is just fantastic. I lived in a desert all my life, you know. Obviously, that's also great nature. It's a different type of nature, but here the green, and it's so beautiful. But the reason the UK has this nature is because of the ecosystem UK is able to provide due to the seasons and due to the weather.
Yes.
If it got less rain, if it was more light, if there was less wind, you wouldn't see the nature that you see. So I think it's very easy to forget the good that you have and focus on the bad. But, you know, life is all about perspective.
Life is all about perspective. Do you know one thing I always say? However you look at life, and you can look at life through a sunglasses where the sun is always shining, or you can look at the life through a lens where it's always raining. That choice is yours. One of the things that I'm grateful for is, I always have gratitude, is when I wake up in the morning, I said, it's going to be a great day. Because that's the perspective I have on life. I make my day, not somebody else's decision, not what happens to me. Is in life, reaction to what happens to you is what makes you as an individual in your day how you want it to be. Because if you react very negatively to what happens to you and you blow up, like I was very, very, I would say, I won't say I can control myself as a young adult, but I was very reactive as a young adult, meaning anything that was said to me, I reacted without thinking. Now I'm very unreactive in the sense that I think about things first before I react. So that comes with a little bit of experience and skill. So it's not about, that analogy again is quite common. It's not about what happens to you in life that really matters. It's how you deal with what happens to you. And that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. You need to have a better understanding on how to deal with things when they happen. It's like in business, you know, when business isn't going according to plan, what do? You know, you visit back to when it was going well, the things that you were doing, and how can you then regurgitate that and make them reoccur again and start focusing on the things that were going well when they were going well. You know, like business is not linear.
Yeah.
You're going to have peaks and troughs. And it's very important that you understand through peaks and troughs, when you're peaking in business, study it really, really well. Study it well. Understand why you're peaking. What are the things you have in place? What is your staff doing? Don't get too excited. Make sure each team members is well rewarded for their efforts and time that they put in for the business to be doing so well. And again, when the business plunges and drops, again, study it. Make sure each team personnel is held accountable for their responsibility on what's going wrong and how they can put it right. Because when you have an element of both levels of study in business, you can then see how you can improve. Yeah, what have we done here to make us be here? What have we done here to make us be here? And then you can understand how you can then push to go beyond where you were previously.
Yeah.
So that's what tends to happen with some business. Some business will sink to the ground and then push beyond their belief, accomplishment. With some business will just sink and continue to sink because they did not study the element of when they were when they're thriving, or some business get left behind because they don't change their perspective on technologies, on the things that move forward. What was is it Kodak? The camera?
Yeah.
The history of those. You know, what happened to them?
Yep.
They didn't keep up with digital aspects of the camera. They believe that people will still want to take pictures, take them into the film store, get them developed. That age is gone. People want things instantly. So the iPhone that we all carry in our pocket now has a better camera, and we can take a picture, post it on social media within seconds, and we'll send it to someone within seconds. So why would I want to wait 2 days to get my film developed? Well, I could do that. So, and that's important. And as a business, you must understand and keep up with the times. And that's what's important. And I think for me, I've learned that a very easy way to make sure you keep up with the time.
Yeah, constant learning, and also reminding yourself that change is the only constant. I think that's really important. Moving into, I think if I didn't touch on this, it would be a sin.
Yeah.
Your workout.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I'm trying to understand, not specifically your workout, but I mean your relationship with the gym, or your relationship with exercising and your health, and the correlation of that to your business.
That's a really good question. Like I always say, health to me is your wealth, and your wealth is your health. However you want to look at it, you got to prioritize that, make it priority number one. And for me, whenever I have an issue or I'm dealing with any negative aspects of life, I go to the gym. The gym to me has always been my sanctuary. And when I go into the gym, I have a routine to complete. And that routine consists of whatever it can be. It might be a push session where I'm working on my push muscles, which is my chest, my shoulders, my triceps, or it could be a pull session where I'm doing my back and biceps, or it could be a leg session. That's how I break my workout up into routines at the moment. And, I do a day where I do a bit of relaxation, whereas yoga, sauna, a bit of stretching, and just loosen up. And for me, it's important that however frequently you want to train, set that, when people come to me as a client, I'm like, I want to train 6 days a week. I'm like, how many days do you train at the moment? None.
Yes.
So you want to go from training, you want to go from 0 to 100. I've been training for 32 years and I train 6 days a week. So why don't we start you on 4 days a week of working out and see how you get on with that? Once you see how we get on with that 4 days a week, then maybe we can go to 5 days a week. Then when you see if you can complete 5 days a week, maybe we can go to 6 days a week. So understanding your ability to stick to what you say you're going to do, I call it integrity. Integrity to me is doing what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to work out 6 days a week and you can't even complete 4 workouts out of the 6, what's the point of saying you're going to do 6? So I'd rather you start at a lower level, saying 3 to 4 days a week, and then push to 5 and then push to 6. But when it comes to my particular workout, I keep it very simple. I like to do my weight session for around 45 minutes to an hour, and then cardio around 45 minutes to an hour at the end, depending on how I feel that particular day. But at the moment, my cardio is 45 minutes to an hour. So my weight session takes me around 45 minutes to an hour. But, I train for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, 6 days a week.
And how do you think that correlates to your business? What have you learned in this aspect?
How you learn from training is you have to understand the toughness of training and the things that you overcome within training. Like, you might go into the gym one day and 50 kilogram dumbbells feels really easy. And you're banging out 12 reps, very good, really easy. Then you might go into the gym the following day and 50 kilogram dumbbell feels super heavy. And you can't even get 8 reps out. That's business. Business to me, some days you'll be flying, you'll have a really good month. Income or bracket will be really high. and then the next month you're not flying. So it's understanding, like I said, reviewing the things that you need to do to improve within that aspects of things. But one of the things I do with my workout is, when the days that I don't have a good workout, I ask myself 7 questions. Have I eaten enough protein? Have I drunk enough water? Have I got sufficient amount of sleep? Like, I wear this Whoop band around my wrist, which is a technology which kind of monitors my sleep and recovery and how ready I am to participate in physical activity. So I make sure that I look at that and I utilize the data to make sure I'm getting sufficient sleep. Hydration, like I said to you, I've probably drunk like 4 liters of water coming in. That's why I've gone to the toilet like 3 times already, and that's why, hydration is key. So again, I always say to clients, for every 25 kilograms of body weight or 55 pounds of body weight, you should be drinking at least 1 liter of water. That's very important. Hydration is very important. And then sleep. We should try to get at least anywhere between 6 to 8 hours sleep per night, for cognitive function, for recovery, and these are so important. So the questions that I ask myself when I go into the gym and I'm struggling with the 50s, and normally that I can just push like they're nothing, is the same question I ask myself in business. So in my business, when things are not going well, I look at the things that I'm not doing. Because what am I doing wrong? Because I'm the sort of person that I look inwards first. Human beings are so good at looking outwards first. Who can I blame? Who can I point the finger at to say, this is why I'm not doing well, rather than just looking inwards? So looking inwards and thinking, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because in business, you are the CEO. If you're the CEO of the business, it's your responsibility. You can't point fingers at your staff before you point fingers at yourself. So as a CEO, either you've got to look at yourself and review the things that you're not doing, because your staff can't read minds. So your staff they're not going to be in tune with the way you visualize when you want the business to be if you're not having regular team meetings, team huddles, and telling them where you want them to be doing on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I always do first and foremost. Like I said, with my training, I look inwards. In my business, I look inwards, and then I look at implementation, and then look at, well, what can we do better? Can we book more calls? Can we post more content that's relevant to our target audience on social, so they could find us relatively interesting to want to work with us? These are the things that I look at and take into consideration. And I think, like I'll always use this analogy, business is not linear. Training is not linear. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Nutrition, again, it's not linear. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. One of the most important thing is, I say, never miss twice. Never miss twice in business, never miss twice in training, never miss twice your nutrition. Okay, you messed up your nutrition one day. Okay, doesn't mean you got to mess up the whole day. Enjoy what you're eating, enjoy the drinks that you're having, and let's pick things up tomorrow. Don't press the effort button, and because you've messed up one day and just ruined the whole week. Okay, you messed up a meeting, or you messed up a top client that you're dealing with. It doesn't mean your business is down the pants, okay? What can we do now to either recover the client that we've lost, or what can we do now to either replace the client that we've lost? That's what you've got to look at, and that's it. And the same with training. Okay, you're too busy to go to the gym. Okay, you could have got up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and gone earlier, but the day's got the best of you because you've had an extra hour or 2 in bed. I know I've done that before. I'll be like, well, I'll train a bit later. Again, day's got the best of me, and I haven't had a chance to train. Okay, well, that taught me a lesson. I better wake up early tomorrow morning then and go to the gym before my day gets messed up. And the same in business. Just, you want to look inwards first before you start pointing fingers.
I love that. You can only control, the only thing that is in your control is you.
Exactly.
Everything else is out of your control. I think, and like you rightly said, human beings always think the opposite. How can I control, the processes or the people or the economy? You really can't control that.
No.
You can control your perspective. You can control how you show up. You can control how you look at things and how you operate and how you react or not react. Choosing not to react is also a choice. So, and what would you say is one of the one of the reasons a lot of people fail trying to, because so everything you said makes a lot of sense, obviously, from a training aspect and the business aspect as well. And I love the correlation, by the way. But what is the main reason why people still fail to work hard? Why people still fail maybe to start something in business or not able to learn? Because we know, from failures, you need to learn and you need to pivot and you need to do all those things. Gym is the same. And obviously you train a lot of people.
It's easy. People are doing the same shit expecting a different result. It's that simple. It isn't that. It's nothing. There's not rocket scientists to it. People are going into the gym, doing the same old routine that worked for them when they were 20s, worked for them when they were 30, now they're in their 40s or mid-30s, and they're starting to do the same workout again, not reaching out for help when they know that they need help, but they think they're the expert because they're the expert in their field. Same in business. People are doing the same old shit that they did in business and expecting a different results. What's that? That's insanity, right? That's definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing that you did previously and you're expecting it to change. If you apply the same methodology to business as we did in the 90s, would it work now? No. 2000, would it work now? No, because back in the 90s and 2000, early 2000, there was no social media.
Correct.
So now we have social media, you have a bigger reach of audience. So you have to look at your business and think, right, what is it now that I need to do that's different from what I was doing back then? Why people fail is ego. Men have too much ego. They don't want to reach out for help. Do you know how many people I speak to on social media and they say, I reach out to them in regards to just generating a conversation, and the first thing they come back to me is, hey, I'm a personal trainer myself. I'm like, great. I've been a personal trainer since I was 18.
Yeah.
I've been training for 32 years.
You have a personal trainer even now?
I have a coach right now. I've been in business, God knows, since I was 19, 18, I was buying properties. Guess what? I have a business coach that helps me specifically with my online coaching business that I pay £10,000 a year to help me with my business, a business coach. So, and I have a coach that helps me with my training and my nutrition, because I work well under instructions, not because I don't know what I'm doing, but I've dropped the ego, and I know that with an assistant and help from those that have done it before me will get me to the destination that I want to get to a lot quicker. And that's what you need to do as men, as women, as professionals. Reach out for help. Don't do the same shit that you're doing day in, day out, within your business, within your workout, within your nutrition, and expecting a different result. You're eating the same thing that you ate when you was in your 20s or 30s and thinking, oh, this worked for me back then. This is how I got super lean when I went to Marbella or went to Spain with the boys and girls, or, went on my honeymoon. This is the thing that I did. I'm going to do the same thing again and expect it to work for me again. Your body changes. And guess what? My prep for each competition is different.
Yeah.
I haven't done the same thing each prep to get me to where I am today. And the same goes for business. You cannot be doing the same things that you did previously to get you to... What got you to 1 million ain't going to get you to 2 million. What got you to 2 million ain't going to get you to 3 million. What gets you to 3 million ain't going to get you to 4 million. You've got to understand the things that you need to do. So it is simple. People fail because they're not strong enough to ask for help, and they're doing the same old shit expecting a different results. And that's simple.
Love it.
It is simple.
Love it. Love it. Now, just to drill down on that exact thing. So, generalizing, but also specifically speaking to people who are thinking to migrate or who have already migrated to the country, to the UK. So, I'm someone who's migrated and I want to become successful. All of us want to become successful. What has been your playbook? If you can decipher that code slightly, a little bit in detail. So if I can sum up things now, okay, so you took care of your physical health. Off the back of that, you build your personal brand. Off the back of that, now you have a successful business helping other people. Okay, but if I were to start this today, where do I start? And every element, if you can give me tips on these 3 verticals, or maybe there are more verticals, I don't know. And that layer of me being an immigrant, I've come in, am I facing some other type of challenges? And if I am, How do I navigate that? So maybe that's a fourth layer of a challenge.
So it's interesting, the question that you've asked, coming into the country and as an immigrant, how do you then focus on the things that you want to accomplish? First thing first, control what's within your control. What people think of you, how you look, you cannot change. Your skin color, you cannot change. Your presentation or your sexuality or the way you are, you cannot change those. When I mean sexuality, if you're gay or you are lesbian or whatever you are, you cannot change that. You're coming into the country here, take control of every element of things that you can take control of. Your health being one of them. Do you know what? I like doing business with people that look like me. They're healthy. They have similar interests to what I have. So when I mean people that look like me, people that go to the gym, people that take care of their health, people that look after what they eat, people that are not out weekends drinking and taking drugs, I don't do business with people like that. That's just not me. So I like to align myself with similar characteristics as myself. So align yourself with people that have similar interests to you. So again, join a really nice health club. Don't cut corners on joining the cheapest gym in your area, because guess what? The clientele that you're going to meet in that gym may not align purposely with what you want to do. So invest in a really nice gym, because it's going to be a different clientele. So focus on your health and fitness by joining a really nice health club and spend some time in saying hello to the members and saying hello to the people that come into that gym. And then other aspects of things is, guess what? If you're going to come into the country and you're going to set up business here, whatever business you want to be in, there's loads of masterminds that you can join. Find people within the mastermind or similar people. If you cannot afford to pay for a mastermind, maybe go to networking events within your sort of particular professional. So if you're into real estate, whatever you're trying to do, entrepreneurship, follow people that have similar, mindset to you, maybe on social media, consume their content. Someone like Gary Vee is really, really good. You've got so many great content creators out there that you can follow. For me, Adesemoye, I can relate to him a lot because I love his content, because he talks about health and fitness. He comes from the health and fitness background, but he's a business mind. So you can follow people like that on social media, and make sure you read as much literature as you can in your particular field. If you're coming into the country like this as an immigrant, you have to try that a little bit harder. You can go and pay for an MBA and go to business schools and spend thousands of pounds, or you can read a book. There's a book called Personal MBA. It's a great book. I'm reading at the moment. And it talks about how much people spend on going to business school, where you can actually read a book that can give you as much insight you'll get from business school, and just implementation. So implementation is important, and you learn things. And then other aspects of things is, don't let your background be your biggest obstacle. Meaning, don't feel like because I'm from India, people are not going to accept me. Because I'm black, people are not going to accept me. Because I'm this, people are not going to accept me. Just get on with the things that you can do day in, day out to propel yourself forward towards your destination. Because at the end of the day, no matter who you are, people are always going to have their opinion of you. And I always have an analogy. Opinion's like an arsehole. Everyone's got one. Seriously, everyone's got an opinion, and they're going to have an opinion of you. So you cannot let someone else's opinion hold you back from where you want to be. So just do it. I mean, one of the most greatest 2 words, just do it, from Nike, and one of the things that I always say, don't wait. Don't wait. What are you waiting for? What are you scared of? I remember my first business coach that I had, who used to say to me, well, just put it out 80% ready, 80% ready. And I then got onto that analogy, because I used to always want everything to be 100%. And I used to be like, what are you waiting for? Put that out. Put that content out. Get it out there, because, you might change someone's life with that content you put out. A lot of people want things to be perfect. Again, one of my favorite quotes is by Vince Lombardi, and I love quotes. He goes, if we trace perfection, we may catch excellence. And that's something I try to live by. I'm trying to trace perfection. I'm going to try and catch excellence. But there's nothing such as perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. So it's understanding the things that you need to do when it comes to your general health and well-being. Align yourself with people that look like you. Spend some money to join a really nice health club, because you're going to meet a lot of people there you can network with similar sort of entrepreneurial mindset as you. Get yourself, into a networking group. If you can't afford a networking group, follow people on social media. You can consume their content that's going to motivate you, and don't let your race or your background be your biggest obstacle. They're my 3 advice.
I love that, Wole.
Yeah.
I can really relate to that. So I'll tell you my story. So I moved here about 4 years ago, and I think the biggest challenge I had 2 challenges. One was my accent. So, oh my God, I don't sound like the people around me. How can I change my accent? Should I get like an accent coach? So that was the first challenge. Like, I was so conscious of the way I spoke. Not that I've got broken English, it's just the accent. So I thought maybe accent is going to be a barrier. And the second thing is also my name. So my name is Asim, and a lot of people, because it's an Arabic name and whatever, so a lot of people pronounce it in a different way. I'm like, should I change my name? Should I get should I call myself Alex? Just a bit easier, just so that I could somehow become. I was trying so hard to camouflage myself into the system. But my experience now is like exactly what you said. I only started excelling when I started accepting the person as I am, who I am. So then my focus was, okay, so everything, this is in check. How could I now make a difference in my life, other people's lives? And also, interestingly, what my experience also has been here, where people really also accept you the way you are anyway. I mean, I think, we are our biggest, self-critiques. People generally, for the most part, yes, you have some anomalies, but for the most part, people also want you to succeed. People for the most part don't want harm for you. I mean, since I moved here, I've only got nothing but love, and I have nothing but gratitude to give back to especially the Londoners. I think people here, London is such a big melting pot anyway. You see different races, religions, ethnicity, background, colors, skin colors, whatever. It's just so beautiful. So for me, yeah, I really resonate with that, because I had somehow for like a short while, I had like an identity crisis. I'm like, oh my God, I need to change my identity just to be a part of the system. But as soon as I realized that, I was just able to focus on growth.
I think what people try to do is become what I call a chameleon.
Yeah.
A chameleon is someone that mimics the environment and tries to fit in, when reality is your biggest strength is not being a chameleon. My biggest strength is the person I am. Because do you know what? Chameleons are all around us. How many, you look at it at the business you're in, for example, how many white Caucasian male are in your line of work, in your field? Quite a lot. But not many from your background that look like you are in that field. So you're going to stand out a lot more than your competitors because of you just being yourself. Like I always say, my task in life is never to try and fit in, it's to stand out. That's always been my task. I've never tried to fit in any environment, that I'm in. I never try and fit in. If someone's drinking alcohol, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to have my Diet Coke, or I'll have my Coke Zero. I'll have my soda water, and I'll drink what I want, not try and go along with the crowd and fit into the crowd, and I think the things that we look at as our biggest weakness, sometimes our biggest strength without us realizing. And when you realize, when I said at the beginning, focus on things that are within your control. Your appearance is within your control. The way you talk is within your control. Your name is within your control. You cannot change those things. So everything that's within your control, if you focus on that and nail down on that, guess what? It's only going to excel. Like what you said, change your name and change it to what? Start speaking. No, your accent is beautiful. Do you know what? I love the way you speak. I love the fact that you're from a different background. I love the fact that you lived in Dubai. That's a conversation in itself, because I love Dubai. I'm always in Dubai. That's like, okay, where did you grow up in Dubai? Did you grow up downtown? Did you grow up in the palm? Probably wasn't existing. Palm was existing, but I guess, did you live in a palm? Where did you live? Did you live in JVC? What part of Dubai did you grow up in? To me, that's a conversation in itself. So, like I say, it's when it comes to doing business with people, I like to be able to have an element of Relativity is a way to relate to you. If I can relate to you, then I can do business with you. If I can't relate to you, I can't do business with you. Even clients that I sign on, if I can't relate to them, I spend the first 5 minutes of ice breaking and talking to them about their favorite book, their favorite movies, what brought them to this call. And then I try and find some relativity there, within that 5 minutes of ice breaking when I have a Zoom call with them. I try my best to find it. Do they have a dog? I like dogs. Do they have a cat? Do they like watches? Do they like motorbikes? Do they like cars? I have so many interests that I try to find the similarity of what they have so we can have that sort of ice-breaking conversation and then go into the business.
I wanna just add just one more part to it. This word immigrant.
Yeah.
I've struggled with this word as well.
Yeah.
Because somehow I feel, and this is just my personal experience, that there's a lot of negative connotation with that word, immigrant. But, it's, now speaking to you, and I've been speaking to quite a few other people as well who are immigrants, who were, quite successful. Somehow I'm starting to see the power in that word, because, you have fought and gone against all odds and still, made a name for yourself. And like you rightly said, not try to fit in, but stand out. And that takes a lot, that already in your hard, complicated life, that's just another layer of complexity. So I think that relationship with that word, for me, has now started to change.
I love it.
And speaking to you now, I'm already thinking, oh my God, when can I now leave? Because I've got this burst of energy and I want to do squats and deadlifts as well. Like I need to release this energy. It's such a nice. I can relate. Obviously, you can relate. So people who are immigrants can perhaps relate that, this negative connotation. How do you now use it from an empowerment perspective? I think it's really empowering, because it's hard to be an immigrant. It's not easy.
I feel we need to own the word immigrant, because at the end of the day, our parents didn't immigrate to this country. Well, my parents did anyway. Even in the 50s or the 60s, when they came to university here and met my mum and dad met, and they had my brothers and my sisters here, they were still immigrants. So they immigrated from one country to another. Even though Nigeria was part of the Commonwealth and they were welcomed in this country, but they were still treated. The racism was quite raw back then. They were still looked at as different and immigrants in some ways. But I think that's in itself a superpower, to know that, I've come to a country where technically not home, and I've made it home. I've made a life for myself and my family. So the negative aspects that's related to the word immigrant, it's almost like, I listen to rap a lot. It's almost like the word, the word nigger.
Yeah.
So a lot of rappers use that. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. For me, it's taking that word and disempowering it. Just disempowering it completely, excuse me. They've just dispower that word. So if someone calls you that, it doesn't affect you as much. I'll be like, is that, when someone says that to me, like on the street or on social media, I'm like, so obviously I'm black. It's like, what, is that all you've got to say to me? Like that way, is that you can scoop that low? It's obvious, but I think is that the word was used to harm black people. Now we've owned that word to some degree. That's the way I look at it. Some people might not agree with it in rap songs. For me, it's, you either love it, you don't like it. But I like rap music, so I like listening to rap. But I think the same thing as immigrants. We got to say, yes, I immigrated to this country 4 years ago from Dubai. Now I've made a life for myself, and I love this country.
Yeah.
I don't want to extract from this country, but I want to give to this country. Because a lot of people, with all the riots that's going on right now in the UK, is like, you're coming into the country, taking our jobs, taking this. But it's not about extracting from the actual system itself. It's about giving to the system. Like I always say, I said this at the beginning of the podcast, if I can help one person a day through my work on social media, through my work in the gym, I'll be a blessed man. So it's about understanding immigrant, non-immigrant, we're all one part of the human race.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
No.
What would you say to the 5-year-old dyslexic Wally who was struggling at school, what would you say to that Wally today?
Damn, let's take a big step back. 5-year-old Wole struggling with dyslexia, couldn't read or write properly, didn't understand what the teacher was teaching.
Thought he was a failure.
Thought I was a failure. I was like, we've done it. Well done. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for not giving up. I'm proud of you for sticking with it. I'm proud of you for being the person you are. Because to me, you are a true role model to people like yourself that are struggling with dyslexia, that are thinking they're going to fail in life. Because you know what? Most successful business owners from the likes of, Richard Branson's, suffer from dyslexia. And there's different levels of it, but it's about understanding that it's quite nice to not feel that you're alone. Well, I reiterate that. It's nice to know some of the most successful business owners on this planet have dyslexia, and have some form of ADHD or some form of neurodiversity issues. You have the neurotypical individuals that may not understand how neurodiversity brain works, where our brain as a neurodiversity individual works so different from a neurotypical person, and I'm so proud of having dyslexia, and I'll be honest with you, it's become my superpower. Like I say, the word immigrant, the word black or nigger, whatever you want to use, excuse my language, and dyslexia have become such a superpower to me that, do you know what? I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to push and make it, because it's something that, people think you're going to fail. And you know what? I'm not going to fail. I'm going to push harder to make it. And that's so important, to not give up on yourself and believe in yourself and trust yourself.
I love that. I'm sure the 5-year-old Wally will be super proud of you.
I'm so proud. Honestly, I'm so proud. I can't reiterate to you that if I can look back at myself now, I didn't think I'd be living the life that I'm living now. I didn't think I'll be having the things that I have in my life now. And I guess materialistic things doesn't make a man successful, but sometimes it's a representation of success.
Oh, for sure.
For the things that you can have and do in your life.
Yeah, no, for sure. Wally, you've always inspired me. And I think this conversation was long overdue. But now the inspiration has gone through the roof.
Oh.
And hopefully that inspires not only me, but everyone listening. And keep doing what you do. Keep inspiring other people as well. Keep pushing hard, not only in gym, but also in life. Because we then aspire to be someone like you. And keep representing the immigrants, black people, and the bodybuilding world.
Yeah, not only just black people, people as a whole.
People in general.
Right? People in general, I reiterate that. For me, I'm a representative of the human race. I want everybody to do well. Black, pink, yellow, pink, women, gay, lesbian, I don't care. I want everybody to succeed and have a fair chance at succeeding in life, because I think it's so important that I want our life to be a success, not somewhere where we look back and think, I wish I'd tried a bit harder. I really want it to be a success for everybody. And I think it's so important that we look at life in that way, that, like I said, I want to help everyone and anyone.
I love that.
And that's so important to me.
And now that's a proper mic drop. I love that. I love that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No, thank you.